My parents told my fiance they don't want black grandkids, and I had no idea. If you think your parents could never be racist, just wait until they think you're not in the room. What would you do if the woman you loved, the one you were ready to marry, told you that your own parents had been saying racist things to her behind your back? Now imagine this isn't some casual relationship. I'm talking about a woman you've committed your heart to. A woman you've proposed to. A woman you see your entire future with. Now imagine sitting across from your mother, who's known you since the day you were born, and having her look you dead in the eye and say, "I never said that." And suddenly, you're stuck between the two people you trust most in this world. One of them is lying, and you have no idea who. This is the story of how my engagement nearly fell apart, because of what was said when I wasn't around. Stick with me. You're not going to believe how deep this goes. So I'm 28, and I'm engaged to the most amazing woman I've ever met. She's 26, she's black, smart, funny, confident, and honestly, she makes me want to be a better man. She's also the only black woman I've ever dated, not because I had a preference or anything, but just because I grew up in a part of the Midwest where there weren't a lot of black people around. Growing up, race was something we just never talked about. It wasn't brought up, it wasn't debated, and honestly, I thought that was a good thing. I thought that meant everyone was equal, and I thought my family believed that too. I mean, my parents are these polite, church-going, charitable people. They literally donate money to an African orphanage through their church. So racism? Never even crossed my mind with them. They met my fiancé about a year ago. Things were polite, chill. I didn't sense any tension, but also, I think they didn't really take the relationship seriously. Maybe they thought she was just another girlfriend. I've dated around, and they probably assumed she was just passing through. But then came the announcement. Last weekend, we were on a family Zoom call, just catching up, all my siblings, parents, the usual. I decided to tell them, I'm engaged. At first, there was this pause. Not like a bad pause, but kinda like, oh, wow, already? Kinda surprised. But then they smiled, congratulated us, said they were happy. No drama, at least, not yet. So we planned a little in-person dinner, just a way for my fiancé and my parents to bond, now that she was officially going to be part of the family. I figured it would be a formality. I could not have been more wrong. We went over to my parents' house. She looked amazing. I was excited. It felt like a good day. We were about to sit down to dinner when my mom realized she forgot something at the store. My dad and I offered to run out and grab it real quick. We were gone maybe 10 minutes. And then I got the text. It was from my fiancé. Just a short message. Please come back right now. I need you. My heart dropped. I looked at my dad and told him we had to head back immediately. No idea what was going on. When I pulled into the driveway, she was already sitting in the car. She had tears in her eyes. Her hands were shaking, and she just looked at me and said, "Can we please go home? I don't want to stay here." I didn't ask questions. I just drove. I needed to get her somewhere safe before I tried to understand what the hell had just happened. Back at home, I asked her gently what had happened. What she said next shook me. She told me that as soon as we left, my mom sat down with her and said things like, "I just don't know if I'm comfortable with the idea of black grandchildren. You've really married up, haven't you?" She said it wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't vague. It was clear, intentional, and deeply personal. I was stunned. I wanted to scream. But also, this was my mom. I've never, ever heard her say anything remotely racist. Ever. I grew up thinking this woman walked on water. But then, what possible reason would my fiancé have to make something like this up? She was devastated. You could see it in her face. The hurt. The humiliation. So I did what any man would do. I called my mom. I asked her flat out, "What did you say to her when we were gone?" She sounded calm, almost offended that I even asked. She said, "I only asked where she was ethnically from. That's all. Maybe she misunderstood." I told her what my fiancé said she heard. She was shocked, denied it completely. "I would never say something like that," she told me. "You know me." But now I had a problem. A big one. Because I do know her. Or I thought I did. And I also know my fiancé. She's not dramatic. She's not someone who lies. She doesn't even like conflict. And she looked genuinely heartbroken. Now I was stuck between the woman who raised me and the woman I want to raise a family with. I started questioning everything. Could my mom have a hidden bias I never saw before? Could she have said those things, thinking I'd never hear about it? Or could my fiancé have misunderstood something? Was it possible she heard a question like, "Where are you from?" and felt attacked? Then I started wondering about things I didn't want to wonder. Could someone be having a mental episode? I've had family members who had late-onset mental health issues. My uncle had a breakdown in his late 20s. What if this was something similar? But that idea felt gross. Like I was grasping at straws because I didn't want to believe my mom could be racist. Or maybe I didn't want to admit she might be lying. The truth? I didn't know who to believe, but I knew I had to choose a side. In the end, I sat with my fiancée and told her something simple. I believe you. I love you. And I'm not going to let anyone make you feel like less than what you are. She cried, but this time, they were tears of relief. I haven't cut my parents off. Not yet, but I've told them clearly. Until we can all sit down and have a real, honest conversation, no more smiles, no more fake politeness, I'm not bringing her around you. I don't know how this ends, but I do know this. Sometimes, love forces you to see things you never wanted to see. And sometimes, the hardest truth to accept is that your family isn't who you thought they were. What would you do in this situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. And if you've ever had to choose between your family and your relationship, I want to hear your story. Subscribe for more real, raw relationship stories like this one, because sometimes the hardest lessons are the ones that change us forever.